evening, everyone. Welcome back to the post-match review for the Evermore podcast, your Evermore Newcastle podcast on the Evermore YouTube channel. How many times have I said Evermore, Mark? Bloody hell. I'm just dazzled by that game. It was all a bit mental and a bit slapdash at the end. Thank God it had nothing to do with us going down. But obviously, we beat Burnley 2-1. Burnley been relegated. About time, really. No offence, Burnley fans, but you've been stinking the Premier League up for a long, long time. So I'm your host, Chris, and Mark is joining me for the post-match review. Mark, have you recovered from that, mate?
It was tense, but for all the right reasons, wasn't it? It's not involving us. So yeah, happy that I can go into the last day of the season without that being what it could have been. If you go back 8 months, that could have been terrifying.
Absolutely. And if I was a Burnley fan, I'd be a bit disappointed, but we'll get stuck into that in a minute. Just before we do a little bit of housekeeping, thank you so much for joining us. If you have, we're live tonight. Please come in the comments. Let us know what you think about the game, the final day madness. Maybe reserve a little bit of that for Pitch Patter, which we'll be back with tomorrow night, which will be a hell of a show, I'm sure. But yeah, whatever you think about the game, let us know in the comments. We'll love having a bit crap with you. And if you're new to it and you haven't subscribed yet, please click that like and subscribe button. We're trying to hit that 400 mark. We've flown into the 371, I think, which is amazing. So thank you so much, everybody who's subscribed so far. If we can get 400 before the season is officially finished, I suppose, which will be the end of this episode, that would be absolutely superb. We'll love you forever. But let's get stuck into it, Mark. So we're going to have a little look at the Newcastle lineup at the start of the game. We had a few changes coming back in. If you want to just pull that up for me, mate, if you can find it. There we go.
Completely lost it there for a second.
Say the lovely Debbie McGee. So yeah, you've got obviously Kieran Trippier came back in. Jamal Lascelles was in for Cher, who was on the bench after he got that nasty whack against Arsenal during the victory on Monday night. And obviously the rest of it was relatively unchanged. You know, we had Burn, Target, Bruno, Longstaff, Joelinton, Miggy, and Maximin with the superb rejuvenated Callum Wilson up front. So I mean, we were massively confident, Mark, about this win on Evermore last week, that we would get the win. And, before we get into the kind of nitty-gritty of the game, I don't really think Burnley put up much of a fight, mate. If I was a Burnley fan and that was my team fighting to stay in the league, I'd feel a bit shortchanged if I was them.
They were so flat. And I think nerves, I guess, was the issue for them today. They just looked almost terrified of making a mistake and being the one that sort of cost them. And honestly, Collins just with the most ridiculous handball to start them off. And that really
what was he thinking doing that?
Absolutely no idea. And it just summed them up. They were just, let's say, they looked terrified of what was going on, didn't know really how to get to grips with the game. And Newcastle with a fit Callum Wilson up front just are a different proposition to what they've been, over the last few months. They've got a proper goal scorer.
And he certainly looks in the mood as well, doesn't he? I mean, just before we get into, the goal, obviously at the back of that penalty, there was a little bit of bad news before that. So Joelinton, obviously, has been superb this season. He's player of the year, rightly so by the club. I think, he's probably our player of the year, but we're going to do our Evermore Awards show next week. After Wednesday. So Wednesday after. And then, make sure you tune into that and see who we pick for player of the year. But Joelinton's been absolutely amazing. And he went in for a header and landed a bit awkwardly, Mark, didn't he? He looked like he's really hurt himself. The rumours that I heard in some of the chats where he said a broken ankle, which is not great. I mean, in a weird way, it's happened on the last game of the season. So in a weird way, it might be the best time for him to be hurt because he's got enough time to get himself ready. But it's a shame to lose Joelinton, and hopefully it won't hamper his pre-season preparation, mate, and he can come back just as strong as he's been this season because he's been immense, hasn't he?
That's the key, isn't it? I mean, it's fine to kind of pick up a niggle or something now, as long as it doesn't hamper the sort of the start of the process for the new season. So, you hope it's not that bad, in that, he can be back ready for pre-season. It did look bad. I think the fact that he was stretchered off, there was no oxygen involved. He didn't seem screaming in agony. He looked like it was sore, but I think we'll see exactly what comes from it. But yeah, just hopefully for him, he's back quickly, and can start pre-season in the same vein that he's been since the turn of the year.
Absolutely. I mean, fingers crossed. He looks like quite a fit lad, and he seems to bounce back quite quickly. I mean, he had a bit of a niggly back injury, didn't he? Before he had his kind of rejuvenation, but he always seemed to shake it off and obviously get on the pitch. So hopefully he could do the same thing, mate, because that partnership that he's developed with Bruno has been absolutely instrumental in us staying up. We were nearly finished 10th today. We finished 11th, which is incredible. I mean, I'm running out of superlatives for the job Eddie Howe has done, but for that team, November time, to be rock bottom of the league with Burnley, who have now gone down, to finish 11th, Mark, just before we get into the penalty. I mean, again, we'll run out of things to say. I mean, what an achievement by Eddie Howe and his staff, mate, to get that team to 11th in the table.
Oh, completely. I mean, yeah, when West Ham scored today, it was 10th, wasn't it? And like half the tables online hadn't updated. We're like, are they 10th? Are they not? And I was almost positive they were, and then they all swapped over. But yeah, I mean, even in 11th place finish, you look at the way things have gone, and 5 points after 14 games. We banged on about this for the last 6 months, haven't we? But that turnaround has been just staggering. And it just shows what a good appointment Eddie Howe was, and the belief now that the players have got in him, and the club have in him, and the club having the players again, and the players having everybody. It's just brilliant, and that is a hell of a platform now to build on.
Absolutely. I mean, as you rightly said, the title for this was basically the end of a new beginning. It kind of does feel a bit like a Star Wars episode, doesn't it? It's a new hope, this summer, with what we're going to do and the finances that are available. But I'm sure we'll get stuck in that in a little bit. We'll definitely be stuck into that over the preseason. But going at the penalty itself, you're right. Absolutely batshit crazy by Collins putting his hand up like that. Ridiculous. There was only one man in the park who was going to take that penalty. I know Trippier was sniffing around for a little bit, but he was dispensed rather quickly by Callum Wilson, the hungry goal machine. It was a cracking penalty, mate, wasn't it, really? Just he gave Pope the eyes and just totally done him, didn't he, really, mate? Buried it.
It was just calmness, wasn't it? I mean, you don't really want that falling to anybody else on the pitch. It was inevitable. As soon as he gets the ball in his hands, that was always going to be 1-0. And that sort of 60-second madness as well, because when you look at the other game, Leeds thought they'd taken the lead as well at that point. So, and then they had that chalked off, and it was all going on. But yeah, let's say you don't want a penalty falling to anybody else at that point in a Newcastle shirt, because you've always put your mortgage on it.
How shit by Sky or BT, by the way, not to have the Newcastle Burnley game on, given how kind of serious that was in terms of the relegation picture. I'm stunned that not one of them had both games going on at the same time. It was just ridiculous, really. I know Leeds was on Sky, wasn't it? But our game wasn't at all. Our game we had to pick up on a stream.
Leeds Brentford was, I think, was on Sky Showcase. I think it was on one of the sports channels as well. It makes no sense. We've got things riding on, really, four major things going on. You've got the ability to have 4 games on, and to not have the Liverpool and City games on, and then the Burnley and Leeds games going on at the same time. It's just, I mean, it's some Sky up, really, doesn't it?
It does, mate, 100%. I mean, they've had a lot of stick this season. I mean, that was piss poor, that, really, in terms of the relegation picture. I mean, yes, the title could have been flipped one way or the other, but I mean, to just ignore how big a game that was, because you could hear the commentators on the stream that we were watching, and they were jumping up and they were talking about Leeds and everything else. And you were thinking, like, that's like last day drama, that from Sky or BT. They're completely missing out on, which is just nuts. But moving back into the game, obviously we got the penalty, we scored it, dispatched it. We were in the ascendancy. I mean, Burnley couldn't make a glove, and they were really poor. I think I called Ashley Barnes a pub team player on Twitter. I think that's quite offensive to pub team players, because he was fucking shite. I mean, I don't even think he'll be that good in the Championship. I'm not going to kick Burnley when they're down. Listen, we've been down. We know how it feels. It's not right to, kick somebody when their club's just slumped out of the league, especially, they've been in the Premier League for so long. So it's a real shame for Burnley fans. But, I mean, as I've said numerous times, and ever more, Burnley have become the new Stoke. They just exist to exist. They don't really do anything in the Premier League. They're just there, taking up a space. And for me, that's not really a progressive team to have in the Premier League. I'd rather have Leeds. At least Leeds, massive club, huge powerhouse club in the north as well. Massive fan base. They've suffered for 16 odd years. We got back in the league. It's a shame Bielsa isn't still there playing that style of football. It was just really, really breathtaking to watch at times, and also completely suicidal at times. But it's a shame that they haven't got that, and they've got old Ted Lasso there keeping them in the league. So I don't know how long he'll last for next season. But yeah, I mean, for me, Burnley's time just ran out. I think we said this on Last Evermore. Happened to us, happened to the Mackhams, happened to Villa, and I think Burnley's time just ran out, mate, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talk about them just existing in the Premier League. That sounds very, very familiar, doesn't it, to a certain Mr. Ashley? So you kind of know exactly where, how they feel. They're a small club, and they needed that little bit more support. Chris seems to have disappeared right now, so we'll hopefully have him back in a second.
No, I'm still here. I'm just fixing my blinds because I feel a bit blind at the minute. If anyone's been watching me, I've been getting beamed by the sunshine there, so I'm just trying to shut my blinds a bit.
Yeah, no, they are very much in existence in the Premier League, and it's, you feel for the fans because it's not nice going down. Nobody's going to enjoy it. But I think, yeah, absolutely their time. Absolutely
is. When he wins, got a nail on the head there. Good to see you when he wins. Thanks for jumping to comments, mate. Yeah, never gloat. Remember the Villa fans. Yeah, that was a little bit over the top, but it kind of caused this weird animosity between Newcastle and Villa fans. It was never really there before. And it's just a bit weird.
It's strange.
I don't hate Villa fans. I mean, but a lot of Newcastle fans after that really do, because they just felt it was completely unnecessary. And, I think it was a small minority of Villa fans, to be fair. You know what I mean? There might be some of our fans giving Burnley shit at the stadium as well, or on social media, whatever, but it's not the majority. Do you know what I mean? We feel for Burnley.
And that happens between football fans, doesn't it? Yeah. At the end of the day, they're all out for winding the other group up. So this sort of faux rivalry that sort of came out of it was just all a little bit weird, wasn't it? And it was. It's just all strange. But no, I'm not gonna pick on Burnley for going down. Yes, it's absolutely there. I think you hit the nail on the head. Very much Stoke, like they just existed there, and sooner or later it was good that their time was going to run out.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely happened. I mean, it's a big gamble when you sack a manager who's been there for so long, like they did with Dyche. And it could have paid off. I mean, Leeds have obviously done it. It's paid off. Whether they like the football or not. Obviously, our mate at the channel, Phil, was telling me the football is diabolical compared to what they had under Bielsa, but it's kept them in the league. So it might be diabolical, but it's effective. But listen, going back to the game, Maxi had chances.
Yeah, let's get back to Newcastle.
Let's get back to Newcastle. Sorry, we're talking about Leeds. So, Maxi had chances. Bruno had chances in the first half. I mean, it could have been 2 or 3-0, really, mate. Couldn't it? We go in half time, obviously, in front. And then we come out in the second half. And I was expecting a bit of a Burnley onslaught, but it just never came, Mark. Did it? Again, they just looked so nervy and scared, didn't they, to even get the foot on the ball and do something.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the sort of the stats from the first half, Newcastle had most of the ball. It was 60% possession, more shots on target. I think Guimaraes had one saved by Pope, and then Maxi probably should have scored. When he ran through, he did the right thing. I think hitting it across the goalkeeper, he just didn't get enough on it. Maybe lift it was probably the better idea. And then, you go into the second half and you think, right, well, surely they've got to come out and play a bit better. And I think they did. Burnley, they had more possession. They had more opportunity to try and do something. But even when it went to 2-1, you didn't really feel that they had it in them to go on and get the second. So they were just always going to come up short.
Yeah, Cornet was definitely their danger man. The Lynch man said on Evermore on Wednesday.
Only one, yeah.
He's their own danger man. I mean, Weghorst is just, I think that's German for just shite centre forward, I think, to be honest with you, because he's just pretty poor. You'd be better off with Vigo from Ghostbusters 2, the fucking Peyton. He might move a bit quicker than Weghorst, I think, because he's just absolutely shit, really. I mean, obviously, they sold Wood to us, which was a big blow for them when you look back at it. And Wood hasn't been great for us, but I think he's been a bigger loss for them than he has an asset for us. Yes, he filled in for Wilson and he did a job, but, come the summer, hopefully we'll upgrade on that position and, we won't really need Chris Wood a great deal. He'll still be there in the squad and stuff and roll him out and cup games and maybe games where you need to hoof it long, but I don't think he'll be, the main understudy to Callum Wilson. But I suppose looking at the rest of that half, really, mate, again, the game just looked easy for us. And then when they went 2-1 up, and I think when they heard Leeds had conceded the equaliser, that's when they really ramped up a bit, wasn't it? They tried to put a bit of pressure on. Dwight McNeil was getting on the ball. They were kind of trying to push it forward to Cornet, and they were really pushing for that equaliser. But they ran out of steam quite quickly, mate, didn't they?
They did, and then there were little bits of opportunities. And let's just clarify, they didn't go 2-1 up; they went to 2-1.
I beg your pardon. Sorry,
yeah,
they went to 2-1. Sorry, mate. That's me.
But just losing the 3 points there, Chris. No, it was.
Fuck it. We're saying anyway. I don't care.
Well, who cares? I forgot where I was going. Yeah, that they probably got that little bit of a boost here in the crowd. You could sense a little bit of a change, but again, there's a lot of the ball, but not an awful lot to go with it. Yeah. There was a couple of saves that sort of Dubravka made. I think he made the most of them.
He did. Some newspaper saves, some Getty Images saves from Dubravka.
They were definitely ones for the photos. But
they'll be on Getty Images for us, mate, for an article.
But then, I've been, we talk about being critical of players and things. There are times when you can be critical of Dubravka, but I thought he did well with an awful lot today. He came and claimed crosses. He distributed quickly as well, especially the first half. I thought he did really well with taking the ball in and then moving it quickly. There was a moment where he took a high ball in, and then almost in one motion as he came down, he'd already rolled the ball out to Bruno to head off, and Bruno was fouled. And it's that's the level of kind of quickness you need from your goalkeeper in the distribution.
I think Wilson, as you said earlier, being in the side helps with that, because Wilson's already on the move. So Bruno's on the move saying, give me the ball. He's on the move. So it's massive how much that changes. Just a quick comment there from Winnie Wynn is a really good point. Actually, Burnley are now in big financial trouble. They have to repay 60 million on their loan immediately. Two teams on opposite trajectories. You're absolutely right, Winnie Wynn. I mean, again, I do feel for Burnley. I mean, they've had a really weird takeover as well, haven't they? And Dyche leaving and stuff like that. And I think it could be a really tough season for Burnley next season. But as James says in the comments, they'll hammer Sunderland at least 5-0. So that's something to look forward to. Absolutely, James. We will look forward to that, mate. We will look forward to that. Ugly Bear's the comments. Hi, Ugly Bear. How you doing, mate? I'm sure he didn't enjoy today either, didn't? And Manchester United, neither did Ten Hag, I bet you, mate, in the crowd. Looking at that. And we've got Prawn Cracker. I love a Prawn Cracker, mate. Toon Army. Same to you as well, buddy. But yeah, going back to the game, Mark, as you say, just to kind of finish it off, I suppose. I mean, Wilson was on a hat-trick. He should have had a hat-trick. There was quite a funny moment, wasn't there, when the headlessness of Miggy Almiron was there for the world to see, where he breaks through. It's an easy square ball to Wilson for another goal, and he decides to shoot, and Wilson looked at him like Superman in the Justice League with red eyes. I think he was going to set him on fire at one point, and Miggy laid down for quite a long time because I think he knew he was going to get absolutely ripped to shreds.
It's, I guess, is that Miggy sort of the stereotypical way that he is?
Sums him up. That sums him up.
Yeah, I think that is a little bit at the end of the season where he wants a little bit of glory for himself. But yeah, you're right. Absolutely, take the easier option, and that's possibly, when you look at the way that he plays, the reason why he's not going to be in that first team next season. No, and I think if there is a decent offer, I think he might be one that does move on. Because you want that bit of quality at the end, that little bit of awareness of what's around you to be able to move the ball. And again, I always come back to the fact that he is ridiculous. He's the most one-footed player I've ever seen in my entire life.
Unbelievable. You want to stop him, just push him on his wrong side. He's dreadful.
Genuinely, I wonder sometimes how he stands on his right leg, because it is next to useless for him. So it is one of those where you look. Yeah, I think if a decent offer was to come in, I think he would probably be one to move on. But he's done a good job in his time. If it is to come to an end, we're not going to knock him because he puts his heart and soul into it, doesn't he? And he never stops moving. He never stops running. And it's a bit of a cliche at times to say, you love one that tries, but yeah, you do, because at least he's shown the effort, and especially at times when things were dark, he was always one that you could rely on to put his heart and soul into it all.
Yeah, you can never question Miggy's work rate. I think it's just his mentality. He's a bit like the road runner, isn't he? But he's just got no strategy, just runs everywhere, meep, and doesn't actually know what he's doing. The road runner can outsmart Wiley Cody, but if that was Miggy, we would have ate him by 18 times by now. But there was a few players on the park, but just to fire a few names at you, Mark. In terms of, I think possibly have played the last game. Obviously, Miggy there could be one. Jamal Lascelles. What do you think last game, or do you think he did enough to show he's worth keeping in the squad? Because Tarkowski was on the other end, wasn't he? And he's been linked heavily, and he had a few kicks off us, did Tarkowski. If he does come in next season, he'll be showing Bruno that scar on his knee that he left on him, isn't he? What did you think, mate, about the difference between them two?
I think, and James kind of touched it. Is it much of an upgrade if you were to bring one in over the other? I'm not sure. There's certainly money to be made there with Lascelles. I think you're not going to get ridiculous fee from him, but you'll be able to bring in more money to free up elsewhere. And if Tarkowski is a free, then that allows you to move on the 10 or 50 million, whatever you get for Lascelles, onto something else. I don't know. I kind of, in the back of my mind, I know I talked during the week about the potential that he might go somewhere like Forest if they got promoted, but there's just in the back of my head suggesting he might just stay, a little bit more continuity in the squad rather than just a complete wholesale change. But it all depends on who comes in, because if you bring in a proper world-class centre-back, like a Botman, then is he needed? Like that. Yeah, is he needed? So it's you've got Cher and Burn, obviously.
Dummett can fill in centre half. Yeah.
And then if you do add a Tarkowski and you add a world-class one to go with it, I think he would possibly be one to move on. I don't think you need 6, especially not if you're playing 4. If you're playing 3 at the back, maybe, but Newcastle aren't. I think at the moment, unless there's a change in direction with that, it's going to be 4. So you're not going to need 6 centre-backs, or 6 first, almost first-team centre-backs.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And just rattle off a few quick names, just say, staying or going. Sean Longstaff, Jacob Murphy, and Matt Ritchie.
I think Ritchie, that was his goodbye, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, he's gone. Yeah.
I think
Longstaff, great servant to be fair to Matt Ritchie, been brilliant.
Yeah,
for us,
absolutely.
But,
again, he's had his sort of knockers this season, hasn't he? And he's been played probably wildly out of position for a long time, because he's almost not one thing and not another now. He's got on a little bit, but he's done very, very well. He created a lot of chances early in the season, and we can't knock him. He hasn't done an awful job, and he'll go with fans' blessing, won't he? He's well thought of. Longstaff, I think, will sign a new deal.
I think he's done enough. I think he's done enough to be part of the squad, Sean. I think last couple of performances in particular has just reminded Eddie how there's a player there, if he ever doubted. I think Sean will be part of the squad. Yeah, I agree with that.
There were some really nice touches today, especially in that first half again, where he looked confident again, and I think
he did.
I think one of the deals on the table, I think that will get signed, and I think he will stay. Murphy's an interesting one, because like a lot, there's a player in there, but I'm not sure when you look at the quality that Newcastle are probably going to have coming in, he's not at that standard.
No.
He's done well. At times you think he's another one that puts a lot of effort in, but that final quality, that final product at the end of it all just isn't there. You look at the chance he had the other night, where he's just begging for a little bit of calmness in this play, and he just doesn't have it. So I think, again, that's probably a little bit of spending money that you can bring in if you did move him on. He's a good squad player, no doubt,
Yeah.
But I think that the direction Newcastle are going in, that's probably a change that could happen. But certainly Richie is the one that I would say is a definite one that's moving on.
I'd agree. It'd be a good championship player. I think Murphy as well, to be fair. He would help a team get promoted, wouldn't he? But you got James in comments there. I'd get rid of Lascelles, make trips with Bruno, the captain. I love Bruno. He's cool as fuck, but I do worry sometimes that he might get a red card. He's got that little bit in him, isn't he? Like, I saw the hand go up the day, and for a minute I thought, oh shit. You know what I mean? I think he has that little bit of South American temperament to him that does concern me a bit. But Trippier, captain 100%, as Winnie Wynn says, Trippier's a great leader. Lascelles would be good to return to Forest. I can see that if Forest go, because Forest is Lascelles' team, and I can see if they come in from that, I think he'll go there, and it'll be very similar to Burn coming here. Do you know what I mean? That's his team. They're back in the big time. He wants to lead them out. Everything else at the City ground, that'll be a big draw for him. But if Lascelles hangs around, he's not a bad squad player, as you rightly say, Mark. You know, he's not over the hill. He's got loads of Premier League experience. Eddie Howe does seem to have improved him a little bit and ironed out some of the deficiencies in his game. Because with Lascelles, he's not got a lot of pace, but at the minute his positioning seems to be a bit better, doesn't it, under Howe? And I think that's maybe just a little bit of coaching on the training pitch.
It's coaching, it's the players around him as well. Remember, he's got a little bit more assurity with the likes of Trippier. You know, we talked about him being a great leader there in that comment from Winnie Wynn. He absolutely is, and he's shown that both on and off the field. To have a player like that playing alongside you with somebody as assured as Dan Burn is at times, and then somebody playing confidently at left back, it allows, you know, it allows whoever's playing with them to play more freely and be not have that weight. And I think at times he's played with a weight around his shoulder of the captain's armband, and with how poorly things had gone, that he probably felt that most. And when you're playing in such a poor back line as it was, and it's not forget that half the players haven't changed. You know, when you go back a few weeks and you were playing with Kraft and Shaw as well, these players haven't changed, but it's the confidence that they've then got from the way that they're being coached now as well. So it all comes back to Eddie Howe at this point, and just that new lease of life that a lot of players have got under him.
Absolutely, we can't wax lyrically enough about this man. What an amazing job he's done. Just an interesting comment there from Ugly Bells, who's a Man United fan. What are Newcastle fans' expectation for next season? Is European football a must? I think Winnie Wynn answered him there and said he'd be happy to avoid another relegation battle. 10th to 7th would be brilliant. This is the perfect kind of realization, isn't it? From all these guys in the media, not that Ugly Bears in the media, but all these idiots in the media who say we want to, you know, sign Mbappe and go for the league and all that. We are just generally excited about not being in a relegation battle for next season and never even looking like we're in one. You know, a little bit like about what Palace kind of did this season when they were right up there at the start. Yeah, they dipped a little bit down, you know, maybe where West Ham, you know, were looking. I mean, I know West Ham are going for top 4, but, you know, if we can follow the trajectory, Mark, of probably what West Ham have done, have gone from that relegation battle to establishing themselves in between that 10th to 7th and then looking a little bit beyond that. And to be fair to West Ham, they haven't done that with masses of resource and signing loads of world-class players. So it can be achieved, can't it, mate?
It's with the right people around, the right characters in the squad, and the right man at the helm, and they've shown almost the blueprint of how to do it. Now, the difference will be is that when Newcastle come to do this, they'll have the back in there to go a little bit further and to have the squad depth. And it's one thing that West Ham don't have. You know, key players missing for them. If you lose Antonio, they struggle. But I think the way that Newcastle are now heading, you bring in, you know, a second and third striker to play either first choice ahead of Wilson, and I think you commented earlier on online, didn't you? You know, just Wilson's a 20-goal plus a season striker 100%. If he can stay 100%. Fit. And
it's a massive if, though, Mark. It's a huge if, isn't it? Just
absolutely. I think I saw somebody else's tweet and said he's a £50 million striker if he can stay fit.
He totally
I can't disagree with that at all.
In this market, yeah.
He guarantees you goals. So if you can keep him fit, then you want players to back him up and sort of ease some of the workload on him. But like I said, that then goes away from that what West Ham have done, and it takes that process one step further, and you can kick on from there. So for me, I think going into next season, I think you're in that bracket of now. I would suggest 10th to 6th, maybe that one step further. That little group behind the top 5 or 6 is interchangeable
your
now.
Wolves, your West Hams, your Brightons, kind of in and amongst that. You know what I mean? We can definitely get crashed that party, mate, 100%.
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at the way that the Premier League table has finished now, Wolves have finished just in the top 10. Now, at one point, they almost looked like they were
Champions League. Yeah,
they were heading for Champions League qualification. Again, squad depth is an issue for them. But they've only finished 2 points ahead. Brighton, again, 2 points ahead. You know, the finances are there for Newcastle to be able to take the step beyond those teams. Leicester, another one, financially not as, they're not a powerhouse. They've got some good players there. Some of them are starting to get on. They're going to lose Vardy's prime sort of abilities now. He's starting to tick in. And also West Ham. I mean, West Ham were only finished, 7 points ahead. So even that team that were, again, 2 seasons running, fighting for that Champions League, not far behind.
We can catch them. Yeah, 100%.
And you give Eddie Howe the start of the season and the pre-season of I know hindsight's an easy thing, but if you start this season with Eddie Howe in charge, what were the changes?
I think we're top 6. I generally think we're top 6 if we start with Eddie Howe at the start of the season. I really do.
If you go in the way you think that it's ended, and it's easy to say now it's happened, and you don't know if you would have brought in some of the players that you brought in, but if you go with that form, absolutely, you're banging on the door of the top 5 or 6 there, and it's. You then look forward to next season and really excited by the prospect of just what can happen.
Absolutely. As Winnie Wynn said in the comments before, if you bring 3 or 4 in like Bruno, you could easily get crashed at that top 6. Just a few other comments there. Evening Trolls, good to have you on board as well, mate. He said it was a bit nervy football today, in my opinion. Absolutely, mate. There was times where it looked a little bit nervous. I think we controlled most of it. What a game from Ash. Good to see Ash back in the comments, mate. Hope your dad's okay. Hope Joey is not too bad injury-wise. And he also thinks we can finish above Man United and Arsenal. I'll tell you something. Ten Hag must have been... There was a thing on TalkSport that said, what's Ten Hag thinking watching Man U get beat by Palace? And I was just tapping it right. Fuck. But I just thought, nah, I won't bother. I won't give them the joy of getting clicks off that comment. We've got Trolls again saying, now go get Nunez. That's a good shout. He'll certainly be dominating our transfer talk over the summer. Feel bad for Big Joe. Hope he can get better. Obviously, best of care. Fingers crossed as well, Trolls, absolutely. And Dad's coming home Thursday, Ashes. That's absolutely class, Ash. Pass on our best, mate, from the lads evermore. It's great to hear that he's on the men, mate. We really mean that. And Arsenal finishing outside the top 4 is huge. We're after the same players as them. Players will want to play St. James's. It's a good comment, actually, Mark, just to bring back to what we were talking about Wednesday. I think we spoke about it on the last post-match, didn't we, with the Arsenal game. That atmosphere, war flags, it's resonating around the world now. It was on Twitter before. We retweeted a brilliant video. I think it was Waka did it. It was absolutely amazing. Just all the work that, all the work that war flags go in. They nearly call them True Faith. Sorry, all the work that war flags go in. I was getting confused. Sorry. A big shout out to the lads, by the way. But yeah, so I think when that goes around the world of football, we've said before, players will look at that and go, man, that looks amazing. Imagine playing in front of that, every other week. It's just, man, it's electric, isn't it? And it's going to be a big draw, isn't it, as well as the finance. So
it is. And I guess, yes, Arsenal can still offer European football. So there is that they do have but it is Europa League. And I know as much as it is a good competition, you can get Champions League out of it. It's not as big a draw as it used to be. So you can shop in the same market. And I guess when you look at what else is around there, of the 2 stadiums, which one do you want to play at? I know we're looking at this from a biased point of view, but I'm sorry, there's absolutely no comparison between the two. They are chalk and cheese, night and day. Whichever two you want to look at, they are. Wolf Flags have done an amazing job at really putting the club on the market, haven't they? They just are selling this to everybody.
Honestly, mate, I'm going to say this on Wednesday anyway, but I'm going to say it right now as well. I would fully endorse the club paying for Wolf Flags season tickets. I really would, because the job that they do is just, it's unbelievable. It's almost like you say, part of the recruitment drive, which is just incredible. Just some other comments there. Ash is saying, thanks guys, you helped that day. I was upset. Cheers guys. That's class to hear, Ash. I'm glad we were able to help, mate. And a lot of love from the rest of the guys in the comments, trolls there as well. And obviously Ash is saying cheers to trolls. That's brilliant, lads. Lovely bit of love in the comments. We love a bit of that, mate. And Evermore. There's no abuse on the Evermore comments. Keep it that way. We love that. But yeah, I mean, going back to what you're saying there, Mark, I mean, we'll be back on Wednesday, obviously, to talk with the lads about some more transfer links and everything else. I've been talking about Lingard and, he wants more money and that. That's the wrong thing for Jesse to play here, isn't it? I think that Jesse Lingard's career is, he's 30 years old. He's still got a chance to make that England World Cup squad. And I think if he's trying to haggle over a few quid here or there, over playing in front of that crowd, that atmosphere, that's going to put him back on the England radar, in terms of what a player he is and what he can do. That could be his last chance at a World Cup. If he's trying to get himself a big payday out of it, or maybe his representatives are, they're going about that the wrong way, mate, aren't they?
I kind of see it from both angles of this case, because if you're coming to that stage in your career and you're looking for payday, I kind of get it. No, I can't see any of us would look to do any different. I know there's the biasness would all go, yes, we want to play at St James Park. Yeah. But if you're coming at it from Lingard's point of view, and you know that you can command either a whacking great signing on fee or huge wages, you're going to try. Now, it might be that it's a bargaining chip. Yes, he wants, he's going to start high.
300 grand, Ash is saying there.
He's not getting that.
He isn't getting that. He's not worth that.
No, not
Haaland's not even getting that.
But what he's got to be careful of is pricing himself out, and people going, well, we're not even going to negotiate. We're not even going to start. Come back with 100 grand a week, because it's just not worth it. You've gone far too high, far too quickly.
Yeah,
you've shown your hand, and we'll walk away.
That's an interesting comment by Ash. Come back tomorrow for Pitch Patter, Ash. We are going to rip that to pieces, mate. Definitely tune in for that one. We're absolutely going to hose that, because I've got my opinion, and Mark certainly has on that as well. And Mark will sound more like me rather than being calm on this one, I think, because he can't believe that ridiculous deal if what we read was to be true. Another thing there, Ash is saying that wouldn't be surprised if Wolf Flags get a grant and Winnie win, saying great PR. It's interesting, Mark, because we had Thomas on the show, didn't we? And he was quite adamant that he said that they don't want that from the club. The owners have already spoke to them, haven't they, and said, what do you need from us? And Thomas and the guy said, no, listen, we're fan funded, we want to stay fan funded, which I think is part of the charm of Wolf Flags, isn't it, mate? I think it's part of that identity, isn't it? That they don't need a backing of a multi-billionaire. That this is the fans that are doing this because they love it.
We said this at the time, and I think my thought on it was you kind of want the financial side of it to go, but you don't want to lose its identity. And you look at club-led stuff, and it can sometimes look forced and look fake. You look at the clappers at Leicester. Jesus wept. You talk about. It could only have been worse if they'd used vuvuzelas, I suppose. But it's things like that. The t-shirts at Leeds and things. They just look. It looks daft from a club perspective. I guess try and make an atmosphere, but when you've got something that is working so well, give Wolf Flags what they want in terms of the support and things, but leave it as it is in terms of the way that it's run, because it's almost perfect, if not perfect, because what they are doing is just sensational.
It is. It's absolutely amazing. And, we can't give them our thanks, and every Newcastle fans thanks, more and more, because they're just an unbelievable group of people. So massive love from all the guys at Evermore. So interesting one from Ugly Bear there, just as a Man United fan, obviously saying that he believes that we have an opportunity to do what Man United can't do and reshape their squad within one transfer window, becoming of the City. Man, you won't be able to reshape. It's interesting though, because it kind of, plays into what Winnie Wynn's saying here as well, that we just want players to have the same pride as us as fans. And I think we spoke about this on Wednesday, didn't we? It's very key that you want the right characters to come into this squad. And I think if you look at them all, even Bruno, who's got that undoubted quality, he's up another level, isn't he? I mean, in my opinion, I think he's probably, next to Wilson, I think he's our best player. I really, really do. I mean, I just think for what he does and what he brings. But he's got the character, like coming over and telling Target he has to stay and all this kind of stuff, and you can just see how much he cares. His dad was crying in the crowd the other day, and just he's bought into the club. He loves the club already, Bruno, and that's the kind of character you want. You don't want to flash Harry coming in, rocking around with his chains on and his earrings on, like, Kieran Dyer style, stop the bus, I lost my earring. You don't want these little wankers at the club. You want people who are going to try, don't you, Mark? And I think that's important in the recruitment process.
I think that's been kind of earmarked right from the very beginning, hasn't it? It's been very, very clear from Eddie and from the owners that it's the right type of people coming in. Bruno's shown it in spades that that character, that leadership. He's taken the club to his heart instantly. As much,
Absolutely.
If the same as the fans have taken to him, he is, he's instantly adored, and he adores the club. And it's that is the stat. You see the same from the likes of Target. Obviously, Burn as a local lad.
Of course, yeah, he gets it straight away. Yeah,
but even Trippier as well has bought in. And you can tell just by the way that he's conducted himself during his injury that this was never, as the media put, he was coming for the money. This was bought into what is going on at St James's Park. This isn't about. Yes, he's delighted with the amount of money that he's going to be paid. Who wouldn't be? But he's bought into what's going on, and you can just tell by the way that he's acted. Yeah,
I think that was just lazy, sour media. I think, to be honest with you, throwing shade at the guy for coming here. We're never shedding tears from Man United. The shameful six try to lead this league. Yeah, it's a fair shout when you win. And again, come back tomorrow, mate, because we've got plenty to say about Real Madrid and they're crying about the Mbappe deal. So yeah, we've certainly got a few things to say about that tomorrow, mate. And Pitch Pass will definitely tune in for that. And if you can like and subscribe, guys, so you get a little reminder, just a little bell to notify you when obviously we're on. That'll be awesome as well. But yeah, so going back to obviously closing off for the season then, mate, going to this game without having that pressure on my shoulders was absolutely immense, and it's just, I think Lee said it in a beautiful speech, didn't he, as well, that he doesn't really want the season to end, and you can kind of understand why, because we're on this upward trajectory, but hopefully, the preseason will be over quite quickly. We'll sign well, we'll come back strong, and it's going to be an exciting time, Mark, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what is it, 10 weeks until the start of the season now? So you want to get into pre-season quickly. You want some of the signings to start to get, to get finalised. I think there's already talk of some of them already being pretty much done. So
yeah,
you want that all to happen, and then to get back and start again, because what you don't want is that impetus that's been built up since the new year is to drop away and have to start again. And it's almost the wrong time to have the break now in Newcastle's kind of progress, because you want to carry on that great form that we've seen.
Absolutely. Just a funny one there from Ash. I think your brother has been drinking his own tears. I think, mate, he's a little bit drunk on his own tears, possibly. And you're saying that you'll lick everybody's tears. Absolutely. We've got another one here. Newcastle can buy 4, 5, 6 quality players. Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't disagree with that. We're very excited about it. But again, as a fan base, I just think we're very cautious and very pragmatic about it, really. Salty. Absolutely, Ash. Yeah. Hashtag salty. Get that trending.
I was going to say, come back to that thing about Howe being sad. I mean, it's not going to happen, obviously. I think the talk he's going to get a new deal out of this.
Yeah.
But did you see the story that was? I think it was in Marca during the week
about
Newcastle
Mourinho.
Approaching Mourinho, yeah, and you just sat there and you thought, this is just
lazy journalism, man. Bobby Robson, Jose Mourinho, Newcastle, lazy. I
mean, we've said the same thing for about 10 years, that yes, it would have been a great appointment at one point. I think time has moved on.
You can't win a fucking game at St James's Park. I don't think he's a good choice for the manager.
But it's just, you come back to that, and that's never going to go away.
No. Of course it won't.
I think we'll always see until Mourinho retires. I think we're always going to see that.
He'll always be linked. He's like the Das Boss of managers, isn't he? For us, we're always linked to that guy, and we're always going to be linked to Jose.
Yeah, exactly. I think was it. Yeah, but it is lazy. It's not like Mark going to make stuff up like that. They've got a form for it. So it's
talk absolute shite. Absolute shite. Paul saying we're moving on up. We absolutely are moving on up, mate. It's absolutely superb. Yeah, great to see. Great to see. Good to see you in the comments, Paul. If you haven't made, please subscribe. Yeah, if we can get over that 400 mark, we'll be buzzing as well. But yeah, I mean, I suppose just to wrap this up, Mark, this is our last post-match kind of episode, really, that we really enjoyed doing these. You know, the channel's grown massively over the last few months, thanks to all you awesome people in the comments and the guys who have subscribed. We absolutely love it. And, you know, speaking for the rest of the boys as well, they absolutely love it too. You know, so thank you so much for sticking with us and coming and checking us out and clicking that subscribe button. You know, we're fully intending to not take our foot off the gas in pre-season. We're going to do, you know, episodes kind of every week as well, you know, keep you full of your Newcastle content, you know, transfer talk, you know, some all-time 11s. There's loads to discuss, Mark, isn't there, in the pre-season? We've got a few plans, haven't we, mate?
Yeah, we'll have. I mean, we're going to look at sort of our awards. You touched on it earlier on. Not this week coming, but the week after.
The week after, yeah.
And then it's about. I was going to say it's about filling the next sort of 9 weeks after that, but I think it's putting out stuff. We want to put out things that are enjoyable, and we enjoy this. We enjoy talking to everyone, and we love the fact that people are getting involved in the comments, giving us their thoughts as well, because it isn't just about us. At the end of the day, we're all part of a giant group, aren't we? So
absolutely, as Winnie Wynn says there, mate, it's a great, exciting time to be a Toon fan, and we love it. You're right, Winnie Wynn. You know, it helps, like suppose, and other people, you know, come on and do these kind of things and make content that you guys and like get involved with, and we love doing. You know, so yeah, definitely. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody there just before we kind of wrap up this last post-match review, really. And then, you know, before we know it, we'll be back with another season review. It'll be a full season's worth of reviews, mate.
I know it's when you consider kind of only started doing this kind of stuff from sort of early December, wasn't it? So it was kind of where we switched our direction, and it's really helped. I'm, you know, really thankful to everybody. Like you said, I'm going to go the same ground. Just really thankful for everybody that's clicked on, that's watched, that's liked and subscribed. You know, that's interacted with it, because it's the reason why we love doing it. You know, we absolutely love just talking. I mean, like everybody, we love talking football, and we love the fact that we were able to do this, and we were able to involve all of you guys as well. So, you know, I know that sounds pretty cheesy, but it's true. You know, that's what being a fan's all about, isn't it? And you love to just talk at a bollocks at time with people, and just that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, Ash is saying there we're gonna have loads to talk about with the transfer rooms. Absolutely, Ash, definitely keep it ever more, mate. We'll have loads to talk about. Willie Wynn say love the channel.
Thank you, mate.
And the club. That's awesome, Willie Wynn. Thank you so much, mate. But I think that's pretty much us ready to sign off, Mark. So as we said, thank you guys for all the comments. Love having you in there. It really helps the channel flow and grow. If you haven't already, please remember to click that like and subscribe button. We're trying to break that 400 mark. We're flowing right through the 300s, you know, so we're absolutely buzzing, and we're really hoping that we can get the 400 sooner than later, maybe before we come on next Wednesday, forevermore. Dan said he might start a Yeovil. Sorry, you clicked at the same time there. You might click a Yeovil Town podcast. That'll be awesome, Dan. We'll watch that, mate, if you can.
Absolutely.
Absolutely superb. But Mark and I are going to be back, as I mentioned a couple of times, with some pitch patter tomorrow night. It's our end of season pitch patter awards. So we'll have Wanker of the Year. We'll have, you know, all the talk from the last day of the season. You know, that isn't just Newcastle related. It's everything really, you know. So we're going to have plenty to discuss, you know, talk about that ridiculous Mbappe deal, mate. So there's loads to get stuck into tomorrow, Mark. And we'll be back with the usual lads for the last evermore of the season in terms of, you know, the season getting played, but then we'll be coming in every single week, you know, with a few different things like the award shows. Mark said, you know, we're going to have a few specials, kind of like all-time 11s, you know, worst ever players, most memorable games and everything else. So please remember to stick with the channel.
Talk.
And plenty of transfer talk. You're right. I was just going to get there, mate. That's probably going to be every single bloody day or week, really, mate. I think the way we're going at the minute. But as we always say, you know, let's keep supporting that team of Core United. And then that's us all done for the season. We're safe. Absolutely brilliant. Massive thank you to Eddie Howe and the lads, and for all you guys in the comments and every Newcastle fan around the world. We did it. Thank God. That's us done for this episode. See you later, guys.
Take care.